everyone. Welcome. As we are moving through this brilliant journey, we're really focusing in on cellular reawakening. This is where we're revealing in your body and being that infinite and innate wisdom that exists within you through all the layers of your being, and really allowing that to come forward in your body and in your world to be expressed. I'm your host, Amanda Hopkins, and I am so thrilled and grateful to have each and every one of you here with us today through the calls that are part of this series. We are really moving into that space of deep, sacred remembrance. It's where we allow yourself to reawaken to the consciousness of your higher soul knowing and its powerful capacity to create order and optimize your light and energy flow in your body. You know, our bodies are really designed to harmonize and to be in balance, to cultivate that optimal health. And so we're calling that light energy in to promote that. We're illuminating your cells, deeply activating them at the most foundational level of your being, illuminating the radiance, the intelligence, and that wisdom that already exists within the highest realms of your consciousness, so that it really is coming in through you. And so with every call and speaker, you're really awakening and moving into that greater awareness of the innate power, harmonization, and joy of your body and being as they share their brilliance and their wisdom and their insights with you. And as you go deeper with them, you know, this is so important so that you can restore your energy flow to its ideal divine template that allows you to flourish physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and beyond. And so today, to share her insight with you, we are so fortunate to have our Academy for the Soul founder, Christel Hughes. And I know many of you probably know her, but for those of you who don't, it is such a joy for me to get to share about Christel. She's a multi-sensory, energetic, intuitive, medium, and holistic life coach known by many as the spiritual trainer to the stars. She specializes in self-development, energetic healing, and rapid transformation for celebrities and individuals throughout the world. Most people know Christel for her lightning-fast and laser-focused intuitive readings. Christel's purpose is to bring and shine light into the world and to operate as a conduit of divine truth, working with people as they identify and develop their gifts and step into their purpose work. The Academy for the Soul helps people discover and develop their intuitive gifts and then share those gifts with the world as an offering. And so I am so grateful to be able to bring Christel on the line. Christel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Hi, Amanda. Hi, everyone. Wow, Amanda, I was going into states of bliss as you were talking about illumination and the cells. I was taking you very literally, and it felt like an amazing journey that you were taking us on. I feel the potency in the space, and yeah, there's definitely a smile on my face now. So I'm blissed out to be here. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, I can feel the energy. It's so big. Like, there is such an excitement in me. I'm sure you could probably feel that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's just, I always love what you bring to the space. There's always such a beautiful, unique perspective that comes through you. And, you know, as I'm reading these words about you, about what you do and who you are, it's like you live that so fully. And so, like, for me, it's such a joy to be able to be here with you and to bring that into this space, because it really does create that space for everyone here to open up more fully to that, to being in that authentic flow. And that's so important. And I think that really does tie into what you're going to be sharing here today. So I want to get into that. Christel, can you pick for us a number between 1 and 12, please? 1 and 12.
1 and 12. 11.
Okay, we are going to Washington. Last four digits are 7945. Hello?
Hello, this is Genevieve.
Hi, Genevieve. You've won.
Hi. I've won. It's my lucky day. Thank you so much. I'm very excited. This is very seldom I win things. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. Yay. Yay. Thank you both so much. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it would be so supportive.
Beautiful day. Yeah.
So, Christel, how can she claim her prize?
How can she claim her prize? Why don't we have you send an email? You can just send an email to christelhughes@yahoo.com. So my name, CHRISTELHUGHES @yahoo.com.
Perfect.
Let them know you're a winner.
Thank you so much. I wish you both a beautiful, blessed day.
Thank
you,
you.
Genevieve. Oh, how fun. Oh, it's always so exciting. I love when someone gets to win. Thank you for that gift, Christel.
Mm-hmm.
So in the call today, Christel is going to bless us with her intuitive readings, which if you've heard them before, you know it's amazing what comes through Christel. So if you want to get in on that, press *2 to raise your hand if you want to talk to Christel live, or you can put your question in the question box. The question you're going to ask Christel either way on the line or in the question box is, what's my number one energetic imprint? What's my number one energetic imprint? And so we're going to get to those. But first, Christel, I really want to know, can you share with us what are imprints?
That's a good place to start. That's a good beginning right there. Yeah. You thought long and hard for that question, right? Okay, so yes, and this is what I promised, really exposing. It's a phenomenon, and it is a phenomenon that is energetic. When someone is trying to bring you into a specific form, right? And what we're looking at is the imprint is actually the expression of a person's thought form that energetically flows through the ethers and starts to impact the mental body of your being, but also engaging with the emotional body. Now, what's fascinating about this is that spiritually, your soul is striving to move into a formless being, right? It's trying to be formless, to allow God to bring you into that formless form being evenly. But people's minds and their projections of their judgment, even their eyes upon you, where there's emotion behind their eyes. If you've ever had someone give you, a look, right? I know growing up, when someone gave me a look, it was like, oh my gosh, my parents, I could translate that look, right? I knew if I was in trouble, right? But also it was a controlling look. And the controlling aspect of that is how the imprint makes that impression into your aura, right? It's engaging your energy and trying to control you and have you do something. And it's molding you into this thing, this object. It's holding you like a vice grip until you surrender. Okay, I surrender. I give up. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll behave the way you want me to behave. I will obey your controlling nature. And I will surrender to you. And that's handing over the power, right? So that judgment, always trying to bring you into something, and yet the divine is trying to bring you into the balance of form, formless, evenly. So the impact of this that it has on you is really that it feels as if there's these unsolicited energetic frequencies that are impacting your body. And so we're constantly getting these unsolicited energetic imprints from the world, right? So think about when someone is very determined with their opinion. I'm sure every one of us has sat across from someone, right, at lunch or sometime where they had an opinion and there was energy and there was a force. There's a force behind their beliefs because their belief system in the subconscious is wrapped around survival, it's wrapped around protection, and it's wrapped around a need to control. So we see that this imprint as someone trying to force their beliefs onto someone, their thought processes, their ideas, their take on it. And it's very subtle. They're trying to fit you into this type of box, right? Like you don't match what they want you to be. So they're going to have you change for them so that you now match them, which makes them feel more comfortable, right? As if one size fits all and we all need to be the same because their insecurity is so loud, right? In their own head. It's screaming to them when they're out of control, when they think that someone might challenge them. So this can be something that's very overt and aggressive, or that's the sneaky part, that it can be very subtle. And these unsolicited imprints can show up everywhere, right? In our media. So the subliminal messages that we see on the billboards on our way to work, right? We even have these in our own home. And so when we engage with people in our own home, they have their patterns and they have their ways of being. And if something is off, I don't know if you've ever lived with someone who's quite obsessive, but if something's off, that's where that triggers them. And what they do is they respond first in their own mind, talking to themselves, but they don't realize that if they're talking to themselves, but it's about us, we as the recipient still feel the impact energetically. Okay? And so we have to look as far as, you know, are we clear or are we unclear in where we stand in the world? Because the imprints, the vibrational frequencies of the thought forms can persuade us if we are impressionable, right? Now, at a young age, we're very impressionable. As a highly sensitive being, we're very impressionable, right? So the power of manipulation, the power of persuasion, the power of the con, right? Being conned into feeling sorry for someone, believing their story. That's someone else's agenda. And their thoughts seem to come into us, right? So when I look at a person's imprints in their aura, I go initially to the mental body. The aura is made up of multiple energetic bodies, and the mental body is one of them. And their imprints can cause your mental body to start to react, creating these constructs that bind you to the projections, to their thought reality. And you become victim to that person's thought reality. It's not based in reality necessarily, right? Because really it's based in their insecurities. So it becomes a living, breathing, almost an organic thing, right? That's trying to come and mold you. Think of like when a potter first begins with their clay, and they're going to create this clay pot, right? And they start to envision what the shape of that pot's going to be, right? They start to envision the shape of it. Well, when someone's working with their own insecurities, they have an idea of who they want to be for you in life, right? How they want to make an impression on you. They want you to like them. They actually have this imaginary experience of how you two are supposed to engage with one another. And that becomes their thought reality. And so that's the context for how they send the vibrational frequencies to mold you, because they want to mold you to become the person that they're thinking would be the best for them to engage with. It's a little tricky. That's why it's really bizarre, right? Because it's not real, but it feels very real when you're engaging with someone that's putting their energy towards you to behave, to become who they want you to be. And they're trying to mold you into that. And the mental body starts to now respond and react by creating in you thought forms and constructs that bind you, engaging between the moldings they have created for you and the moldings you have for yourself. Who do I need to be in this moment for myself, for the divine? And do you see how if you're holding on to one mold, one experience, and they're trying to force onto you their mold and they want you to engage in that way, there's a little battle going on. And the emotional body of the aura is screaming to get your attention, trying to help you by letting you know that something is wrong with this picture, right? Because their picture that they project onto you of who they think you should be is the molding. It's the mold. I just recently did a reading on someone, and it was like this plaster of Paris mold that I saw. And I was like, yes, that's exactly it. It's like someone has created this mold and then stuck it onto you, and your mental body is like, this is a foreign object, but it's a mold. How do I rearrange my thoughts to work with this new mold that's been presented to me, right?
Yeah.
So that imprinting is at the very subtle level, and those that are sensitive can become aware of when a person is in the act of imprinting, and they can erase it out of thin air, like literally, right? Before it engages with their energy. And the way that we are able to engage now is so different. It's so unique because of the times that we're living in and the cosmic arrangements for us to actually be more aware of the subtleties. That's why we even have the consciousness to speak about these things. 20 years ago, we were barely touching these types of conversations. And now, look at us, right? So we're now in an experience in which everything is being exposed. The truth is coming out. I'm able to see the truth of how this person is trying to project an imprint onto me. And I can then choose, because I have the power to say yes or no to that. And we don't know this in the beginning, but the way that this can show up is like with the overbearing parent trying to control and mold the child, right? Forcing them into this idea of, well, this is the only way you're going to be successful. You've got to go to school and, go to college and get your degree and get a job and get married and which we know can potentially be an outdated paradigm now because we're online and we have, entrepreneurs are now coming to life and really claiming their power and their ability to be creative. So also it could be a possessive boyfriend, right? People that are taking ownership of you, ownership of your body. And they create a signature of ownership. The imprint then is kind of singed into your body. It's like they're creating some kind of symbol that they're making an impression, and it's like that's their symbol of ownership on you. And it's literally impressed and almost like burned into you. Do you see? And so how do we get out of that, right? Because it can be that intense where someone is so possessive, they take ownership, and then they think that it's their right to own you. A best friend that doesn't want you to have any other friends, right? And so in strange manipulative ways, she creates a wedge between you and others. Or it could be a critical teacher that criticizes you and causes you to be constantly dependent on her, right? It could be a jealous coworker. It could be being bullied by a group of people, right? So the imprinting is something that we really have to address now, because so much of what was hidden, the way that the shadows have been living and working underground are now coming to light. And the way that we, especially as caretakers and caregivers and just givers, healers, we've been imprinted on. And we might not have known it, but the more that we awaken to our truth, we start to now be able to see beyond the density as a body, right? I'm not thinking I'm a body anymore. I'm thinking that I'm a soul in a body. But how does my body get imprinted upon? How does my aura get imprinted upon? Who am I in all of this? And so we need to understand that every time there's a thought form, a vibrational expression of someone's mind, it goes into the ethereal realm. It tracks us down, and we're either going to allow that to come in or not. And imprinting is not just in the aura. Imprinting can be into an object, a person's energy, and their claim of that object can actually stay in it, you know. And this was really trippy because I was handed down my grandmother's ring. It was a beautiful golden butterfly with diamonds in it. And my mom gave it to me when my grandmother passed away. And when I put that ring on, I actually started thinking like my grandmother. And the thoughts were so uniquely different from mine that I was like, what in the world's going on here? Like, why would I be thinking that I'm overweight? Why do I want to eat a whole box of See's candy? Like, why do you know, that's what my grandmother would do. One sitting, whole box of half a pound or whatever it was, quarter of a pound, I don't know, but it's, you know, and boom, gone. And, you know, in feeling that, I was like, whoa, I had to remove that ring. And I had to take the imprints off of it, right? Because we can psychically sense how the person felt at a particular time. I can literally pick any object up and I can tell you what's been recorded in the object. You can tell the experiences that the person had while in the possession of that object, right? Wow. So even let's say if we're out and we're shopping and we, you know, put on a shirt and someone else has tried that shirt on, we can pick up the imprint that was on that, the energetic imprint that was on that object. And we might think, ooh, this looks ugly on me, or, oh, I look fat in this. And it's not even our thought, right? So that's the degree that we can engage with energy and imprints. But it's time to shift that, you know. We have to start to learn, you know, deep down, how are these really created? What can we do about them?
Well, you know, this is really telling, Christel. It's making me think, wow, you know, I thought I was paying close attention, but there's so much more affecting us than we, you know, there's always another level. So this is really starting to expand awareness around these imprints are really having an impact, probably far beyond than we've even ever contemplated before. And it's really interesting because when you're talking about the mold, and the plaster of Paris, you know, I see these a lot of times. I always called them encasings, but like these hardened shells around the body, where it's like it's rigid and stiff and you can't move and you're in this fixed paradigm, you feel like you can't get out of it. That's kind of how I've seen them, and I'm going, oh, wait, here's a parallel, right? This is very similar to what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing to recognize them, but, I think we probably want to understand how are they created to help us know what we need to do to let them go.
Yeah, again, the thought impresses these little energy particles upon your aura. But the trick is that there's a part of you that is accepting the projected thought form, right? And so as the impressions, as we're talking about the impressions and how they're created in our aura, as we start to become self-aware, we start to see that if there's any part of you that resonates with being a victim, thinks it deserves to be treated unfairly, unkindly, mistreated, an imprint will stick, right? That thought form is going to be one little energetic frequency that creates that whole mold. And the more that we allow ourselves to become that and see ourselves as that, we will take that on, and then we'll take it as a pattern and we'll duplicate the pattern. So if you take on the projective thoughts of others, it leads you to having these self-diminishing thoughts projected now onto the self. I'm taking that on. So to give you an example, when I was growing up, I always felt invisible to my dad. And so I always felt like I wasn't worthy of the attention. And what did I do? I started feeling unworthy. And then I started trying to be something to the masculine, which would be my boyfriend at the time, right? It would be my boyfriend. I'm trying to be something, right? Like not just naturally being radiant. Now I'm actually trying to do things to get the attention. What can I do that I think they're going to like? And I'm going to go along with that, right? If they want me to drink, I'm going to drink. If they want me to go skinny dipping in the river, I'm going to go skinny dipping in the river with them, because why? I want them to think a certain thing about me. Sorry, everyone, for the visuals there. But, right? It's like, we do these things. It's like we don't even want to do them. And so the pressure, think back to when you were a teenager and that feeling of the pressure of people that you went to school with, and what you thought you had to do, and then who you thought you were based on the projections of others coming at you, but you really didn't want to do it, but you did it anyway. And so that type of scenario contributes largely to maintaining the imprints. Instead of having the healthy boundaries, instead of having your voice, instead of feeling strong within yourself and knowing your own power and your own truth and being able to say, no, I'm not taking on the pressure of doing that. I don't want to drink. That's not me. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm not going to also give and give and give and give as they're taking and taking and taking and taking my energy, which then ended up happening in my marriage. And I was invisible in my marriage. Why was I invisible in my marriage? Because I took on that mold of my own thinking based on the interpretation of how I perceived my dad treating me, right? And so now I start to behave and become the good girl and make straight A's at school and do all these things that I thought would get his attention. In my marriage, it was something else. Then I became the good wife. And then I took on his business and I had, gave all these ideas, and we ended up making a large amounts of money, right? It's like, oh, he's going to love me because I'm going to be, amazing at running his business for him. Meanwhile, he's off golfing, and I'm stuck running the business. Did he really care? Did that make him love me more? No, not at all. I just then created my own jail right? Because now who am I? Now I'm the one that has to run the business. I'm the responsible one. So we must have, you know, a change in consciousness. Each one of you have to change your own consciousness and your patterns to free yourself from the imprints. And we can energetically erase them out of your energetic experience. But don't let others define you. Really feel more certain about yourself. And don't be apologetic or hide yourself, right? Embrace your formless self, because the divine really wants to flow the light through the formless being. We want to allow the divine to move through you in real time and allow those real-time definitions, the animation of who you're to be, the expression of who you need to be in any given moment at that time. And that's the real dance with energy that we're wanting to get to.
Yeah, I can feel the intensity, the intensity of this whole idea of being imprinted and feeling like trying to figure out who do I have to be. That feels like it takes so much effort. Oh my goodness, instead of just allowing to settle into self. But then, how do you do that? I think part of what's important is what's the projection? How do they work? How do they come into place? Can you share a little bit more about that with us?
Yeah, because in projections are the thought form in action, right? It's literally like flying through the air. It's like the energy and the will behind the thought form that then floats through the air to impact you. And the thought form is real. Like it's tangible. The thought form is tangible, right? Many of us, before we start with our journey, our spiritual journey, we're being bombarded, and we feel that because we know that we can get tired, we can get exhausted being around someone. We can't handle environments in the way that we used to, right? Many of us on our spiritual journey were taken to our knees by some kind of physical issue or ailment. And then it's like a wake-up call. Oh, my God, I have not only my thought forms bombarding me, I've allowed all these other thought forms to bombard me, and it's literally taken a toll on me, on my physical body. Like it went all the way from the mental body to the emotional body, to the etheric body, and into the physical body, to the cells. And so we have and always have this moment to decide, to accept, and to project loving, validating, accepting thoughts for the self, right? No one person is as powerful as the self. You are the most powerful person in your life. Never forget that. Your projections that you have on yourself are the most impressionable. And projections live in the space where the intangible becomes tangible. Okay? This is so important. If you're going to perk your ears up and put everything else away, do it now to listen to this part, because this is profound. Projections live in the space where the intangible becomes tangible. And we see that the intangible meets the tangible. This is life, these individual loops, looping of energy. And when we start to recognize the projection has the energy and the passion behind it based on the person's desire that sends it. And so especially if you're a healer and you're working to shift and transform a pattern or a scenario or a situation or a paradigm or an illness or a condition that has become tangible in a person's physical body, what are you trying to do? You're going into that tangible area in the ethers, and you're wanting to make it intangible. You're wanting to kind of reverse engineer it into being intangible. You have to get to the projections. What created that being tangible in the first place? What caused it to gain the density was the accumulation of projections. You see? So if we're always moving energy from form to non-form, from non-form, the formless, to form, right? So this is what we do as energy workers. I mean, this is what we do when we're engaging from a place of form, which is our world, and we're going into the intangible, the subtleties, the ethereal realm. We're wanting to channel information, right? We want to receive information from our guides. We want to engage with the angelic realm. We want to have the extra sensory abilities to be able to understand, to translate, but also it's about the transmutation of something. When we transmute something, we're literally taking it from one form into another form. And as it goes from the tangible of the one form to the tangible of the other form, it has to move through the intangible. And you know that there are obviously cases where the scientist's viewpoint makes an impression on what they're looking at. And it becomes that. That's part of the equation, right? And so that's what happens, just to finish, that's what happens when we are engaging with projections. We're dealing with that. Someone's looking upon us, their thoughts, their mind. We actually, we are a victim to them trying to bring something in, bring us into a tangible state when we're trying to actually become intangible.
Wow. This makes it really clear when we're looking at there are these different layers that we have to be aware of, but getting to the projection is so important. When you're sharing with that, it made me think about, I'll never forget when I was working in the medical field, and there was this same exact medical study had just launched. And part of my job was helping to educate the outcomes of these studies to the doctors that we worked with. And two different doctors had completely different perspectives on the outcome. And it was the exact same data. But it was their mindset. So when you're talking about these projections, to me, that's such a tangible example. You're saying tangible, such a real life world example of how these projections can have an impact on something, regardless of what data is sitting in front of us.
Yes. And I just want to talk to all the healers out there, because I want you to know that part of your learning to be an excellent healer, an excellent intuitive, is to be able to traverse and to move through the tangible into the intangible. And when you're in the intangible, looking at the tangible, you want to be in that non-judgment. You want to be able to be so neutral that you're not making another impression, right? That you're not impressing upon your client. And I see this so much that people have gone to healers, and even the healer now has made this impression. And it could have been, like you're saying, like beware of that impression, because it changed the whole outcome of the study, right? When you have someone you're working with, you have to be able to trust that they're not bringing their personal projection into the mix, but that they are reading the information from the ethers, from the intangible, and that they're capable of taking something that is a pattern that is causing certain types of behavior within you, or physical ailments in your body, that they actually know what they're doing to engage in that, with that tangible, and to discreate it, if you will, to reverse the projections, to reverse the constructs, to reverse the makeup. And this is where we get into the erasing of it. But obviously, first we've got to be able to identify the imprints and who is imprinting upon you. And some will imprint upon you in a stronger way than others. And you'll know it. You'll know it. You'll be able to feel it. Sometimes it will be very obvious and uncomfortable. And other times it might feel very comfortable, because let's say you're in the honeymoon stage and someone is imprinting upon you all this love, and you're just molding to, you know, who they think you are. But isn't that also a trap? That you would have to always be that for them and always act that way instead of being the real you, which we know after the honeymoon stage is going to come out to a certain degree. But if they keep trying to hold you into that, that's pressure for you to always be that for them, right? And we just want you to actually be comfortable in the formless that the divine has for you. You know, the divine idea of you. And so we have to erase the imprints for you to actually come into the place of neutrality within yourself, and to let the divine make that beautiful impression upon your soul, and to then allow yourself to have the courage and the trust to live that out. And that's that's changeable. So it takes a lot of faith and trust to live in the nothingness, but to be at the ready to be changed at any moment, and to not be attached to your own imprints, so that you can also move with the times, move with the evolution of your own cycles, and grow and expand according to your cycles.
Wow, that's so powerful. What you said, not being attached to your imprints in any given moment. That's what creates that real strong inner certainty. It's like, no matter what, I've got this, and I'm in that flow, and I'm connected, and I'm trusting. That's powerful. And I think that's a place a lot of people want to live, but aren't quite sure how to get there. So I think, though, Christel, that you mentioned that the first step is identifying the imprint. So would this be a good time to start supporting people with that by doing some of the reading?
Let's do it.
We're going to California. Last four digits are 8097. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for this show. It's a huge topic. So yeah, my name is Alexandra, and I'd like to know my imprint, my biggest imprint. And
yes, okay.
I pretty much had the same, thingy that you did in pink or whatever, the same thing. And I have been fighting my whole life with such a low self-esteem. And I could only do things that didn't need self-esteem. That was like a demand and whatever you call it. Like business demand and provide whatever that you didn't even need to do anything, because it was or anything that I had to do that needed self-confidence, I couldn't do. And now it's like coming to a situation where I'm an actor and a producer, and I'm terrified of making a phone call or calling anybody or going to auditions and stuff, because the last time I went, I got raped and molested and just told my...
You have an ancient imprint on you, which is neglect. Your imprint is neglect. And so what happens is it's created in your environment that it's okay for someone to neglect you. Okay? And so what that would have you do is create this experience of they're neglecting me, and it's okay for them to neglect me because I don't have any worth. I'm not good enough to actually be viewed by them and to be seen as someone by them, right? And so this is the great fear, is that you're going to go into an experience where they also have permission to neglect you and to be able to avoid really looking at you and acknowledging you, okay? So let me see when this was created, because it's way back. It's a past life, but it's going back really far. It's at 96 past lives ago, okay? So that's where in the workshop you would be able to clear that past life, clear that imprint of neglect, and now people would then be able to not neglect you, not push you away, not have even your permission to neglect you. They would have to acknowledge you. They would have to see you and your gifts and your beauty and your light and your offerings for what they really are, divine. Okay?
Mm.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hearing. I think we lost her sound, but thank you, Alexandra. Yeah, hope you got that.
You.
We are going to Virginia. Last 4 digits are 0632. Hello.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for taking my call. My name is Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
Hello. As I was listening, I was like, this is related to boundaries. This will strengthen my boundaries. I thought such a like program, right, to assist with that. And in a whole different direction, so I think it's very much enhancing. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Your main imprint is one of being inferior. And so through your vulnerability, you actually feel inferior. And so others around you would not be able to be vulnerable because their projections are, if you're vulnerable, you're inferior. Okay? So that's the dynamic. Let's see when that was created. So it was before birth. And they're saying genealogical. And it's on your father's side. And we're going back 29 generations on father's side.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Wow.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate both of your time.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm.
And
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Next, we got a lot of California callers today. We're going to California. Last 4 digits are 5003. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Christel. How are you?
Very well. Thank you.
Good. Very excited to be here. Thank you both for having this today. So what's my number one energetic imprint?
Yeah, so for you, it's one of irritation based on people trying to control you. And so the irritation is sitting actually in the heart, but also in the deeper area of your sacral chakra, like in your gut, okay? And the people would show up as controlling, and in that, it's that they know better for you than you would know for yourself, okay? So they know better for you than you would know for yourself, and that wouldn't give you the chance to know it for yourself, to come to know it for yourself, okay? Now, let's take a look at this, because this is a past life. They're talking to me, they're saying it's 37 past lives ago when this initial pattern got created. All right. So you're going to need to go do that in the past timeline. We'll do that on the workshop. But also, we've got to have you focus on clearing that irritation, because that's causing some physical issues in your body. Okay. It's gotten down to the physiology now in the gut.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for taking that time, Christel. I want to go over to the Q&A box.
Sure.
To do some readings there. I want to honor everybody who's on the webcast here. So we've got Maria from Stockholm who says, hi, Christel, I feel this pattern in my life. Would be so thankful to get clarity on what my number one energetic imprint is. Again, that's Maria from Stockholm.
Yeah, one of the things that we're looking at is this feeling of other, like authoritative energy condescending, right? So this is the number one imprint. It's that the power from you is given away to authority, and then it gets twisted, that your actions aren't good enough for them. There's this condescending energy coming on to you, and the projection is impacting your whole psyche, the head, the third eye, the crown. It's like you can't trust yourself with this greater authority because you end up, in their mind, end up doing something wrong, right? And so there's a persona that's like trying to please them, but also afraid of authority, and then has a little bit of resentment against them. And you're trying to free yourself from this mess, right? Now, this is actually a genealogical line on your mom's side, and that is going back 21 generations ago.
Thank you. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylene from New Plymouth says, hi, Christel. Look forward to listening to you for the first time to understand imprints. What is my number one energetic imprint? Thank you. Jaylene from New Plymouth.
Yeah, there's a feeling of being rejected, almost a sense of humiliation around it as well that's impacting the front and the back of the heart. It's causing these mental constructs to come up, and almost like you're gonna be rejected again, right? And the experience of, oh, I'm gonna be rejected, it's like, why even give myself over to whatever it might be, your purpose work or a relationship? The experience being projected is, why do it? Because I'm gonna probably be rejected anyway, and in that rejection, I'm gonna experience humiliation. Okay? So this is cutting off from the waist down. So a lot of your desire to move forward is being delayed. So let's see when that was created. So before birth, so this is past life, 22 past lives ago.
Wow, thank you for that. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Intensity there. Thank you. Emily from Blue Mountains says, thank you. This is so awesome. I have so many issues with my mom around this imprinting pattern that run through all my other relationships. I'm starting to purge out. I'd love to know what's my number one energetic imprint.
Yeah, it's around powerless, feeling powerless, and almost like you're jailed. The projections come on to you because you are an empath. The projections come on to you, and it's like you're jailed in this. And the feeling of being powerless is not only around their projections onto you, that they play off any of your insecurities that you show, because you sometimes try to defend self, but it's like they keep knocking you back down. And the experience of your powerlessness is gutting you, right? It's like at the power center, at the sacral chakra, and it's gutting you. And it really is that you feel entangled, right? You feel so entangled in these scenarios of their projections. It's like being at the circus in one of those crazy houses, you walk through and like you open this door and you see this one thing and it's like, oh, what is that? No, I got to close that door and get over here. But then over there isn't any better. It's all whacked out, right? It's all kind of crazy. But powerlessness is what we're looking at. And this is a genealogical issue on father's side. And let's see, they're talking about 17 generations ago, but I also believe it's a past life issue. And that past life issue we're looking at is 4 past lives ago.
Wow, thank you. Very in depth on that one. I can feel that, though, that, in the stomach area, I can really feel that energy of that. strong in there. Julie from Texas says, hello, Christel. I'd love to know my number one energetic imprint, especially around my husband and children. We just moved from Texas from California, and I feel like I have an opportunity for a clean slate. Can you tell me what my number one energetic imprint is?
Yeah, it would be different with each one, right? Like just know that it would be different with each one. But I'm going to read for you the one, like think about like as you incarnated, and what we're looking at is distrust. And this experience of uncertainty and distrust is the number one imprint for you. And so you have to be certain within yourself, right? It's really important for you to acknowledge your own path and your own way. And the information and the light coming through you, you really want to trust that. And so everything that they do is to test how much you trust your own self. And the testing of that is to strengthen you to become more certain within your own truth, right? Certain of your truth and certain of the expression of that truth in your life, in your lifestyle, in the way that you interact with each one of them. Interact with them with certainty and with trust within yourself. And that will shift the dynamic.
Wow. That is interesting. Thank you. Julie, that was for you. Christel, as we're starting to understand, and I want to come back to some of the callers and questions, but as we're starting to get a sense of these imprints, I can feel people leaning in and go, but what do we do? How do we get rid of these? Or how do we clear the imprints so that I can be clear? So can you share with us what you've put together and just kind of talk to us about what's going to happen to help unlock from these imprints? For those of you who are visual like me and want to look at what Christel's put together, you can, if you're on the call page, you can click the button that says special offer. So Christel, can you share with us, how do we release these imprints?
Yeah, it's a craft, right? It's like, I want you to think that we're going to go into the ethereal realm. This experience is going to be done as a group, and we're actually going to be utilizing Metatron's Cube, and we're doing this Erasing Energetic Imprints workshop. So it's going to be done by getting you into that place where we actually are engaging and having you engage with the main aspect that is taking on the imprints, right? That you actually have a main persona, a vibrational animation of a person that lives within you that takes on the personas. I'm going to guide you to find that aspect. And we're going to work to disengage the aspect. And we have to do that first, because if we just go in and we just start to work in the mental body and start to take these constructs down, and we start to work with the emotional body and literally relieve you of the pressure of that, but you still hold an aspect of you that wants to recreate them, then what good is it, right? So first off, we're going to take you into the experience of observing or recognizing or feeling that part of you that is the creator of the projections within your own self, and also is the creator of the imprints, the one who takes them on, okay, and then self-identifies to then have them actually fully settle in, right, to become hardened as the mold, okay? So we're going to work on clearing that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and start to work with the mental body and work with the energetic compensation. So I haven't talked about this yet, but what happens is, depending on the power of the projection. Now this could, again, it could be subtle, like someone judging you just simply by looking at what you're wearing, like taking it in, looking you up and down, like making some kind of judgment about that. It could be, like I was saying, that evil eye. It could also be to the depth where someone consciously is wanting to take you out. Like, let's say it is a work experience and they want the promotion and you're up for the promotion and they want to take you out. They want to sabotage you, right? What happens is, depending on the intensity of the energy projected onto you, your body, aura, chakras, meridians, the muscles, even your psyche starts to compensate for those projections. It twists the aura into these archetypal patterns of behavior, and those are actually creating a misalignment with your true nature. So we have to undo those patterns, and you don't need to anymore compensate. What are you compensating for, right? No, their truth isn't the truth. So you don't need to compensate for anything. You have to align to truth. So you can look on the page and you can see what ultimately that means, right? What does that mean? Because we're literally going in. We're going to work in the energetic structures. We're going to undo those compensations on all levels for you. Also, we're going to remove the bioplasmic molding, the molds that are causing you to be deformed because of the projections. We're going to dismantle the templates. So what happens with the mental body is the mental body is a structure. And that's why we call it mental body constructs, because your mental body is like a structure that holds you and helps to engage the emotions and helps to move the emotions through your whole being. But when the mental body gets these constructs, it's like putting scaffolding up on the outside of a building, right? The scaffolding isn't the building, but it's actually creating a structure around it. And what we see is that that structure of the scaffolding actually is like a template. So it's like, well, if we're remodeling the building, we put the structures around it, and then we can remodel it, right? Well, what happens when someone's projections has happened for years? Let's say that you are the scapegoat of your family, and for years and years and years, nothing you've done is right. Nothing lives up to what they expect from you. Now you've got multiple people projecting in the ethereal matrix who you are, and that creates a template. So the molding actually now has an outer form of a template, which that's the jail cell that you can't seem to get out of. It's like, I'm doing all this energy work, I'm shifting the dynamics of how I think, which should shift the dynamics of how everyone else thinks, but it's like I'm stuck in jail. They won't shift their projections onto me. That's the template, and it's in the ethereal matrix, and we've got to shift that in the ethereal matrix. So we're going to do that. We're also going to work on your M fields, which is the consciousness fields that, let's say, you share with your family. We've got to actually remove that, and because that is a way for them to invade your personal field of consciousness, right? So we want to clear out the vibrations coming from others, and again, using that same example of a family dynamic, right? So if they're putting vibrations and projections into the M field of consciousness that you share with your family, then it literally is like acid rain coming down on you. You can't, it burns you. You can't get away from it. So we're going to clear that. Then we're going to actually allow you to get the experience of truth in your body. We're going to energetically wrap your aura with a reflective material, if you will, a material of consciousness and truth, which when someone then projects onto you, instead of it deforming your aura, instead of you absorbing the impression that's been cast upon you, you are going to reflect and echo truth back to them, okay? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You're going to feel alive. You're going to feel renewed. You're going to feel like yourself, like, oh my God, I'm out of this craziness, out of this jail cell. And now I'm just echoing truth throughout all of the universe, but especially to the people that are in your environment. And that helps you, but also it helps them. Okay? Then we're going to upgrade your structural light codes for claiming liberation, right? So this is about deep in your DNA, and we're going to literally bring in, and Metatron's Cube is going to do this, shifting at the structural level, the light codes that literally send impulses to your brain, right? How do you translate people's projections about you? What has you placed yourself in a scenario, a situation, to then make a judgment onto yourself about what they said, what they did, how they looked, what situation they put you in, right? How they have been defining you. And so we're literally going to shift that so that you can come into a greater level of worthiness and being brave, right? So you're not controlled or influenced by their expectations of you. But really, what are the expectations that the divine has for your unfoldment, your blossoming, your opening, okay? So that's going to include, again, 2-hour live workshop. I've got a bonus, which is the Aura Repair and Care Kit, which you're going to love that. And then we have another bonus that I just adore, Prana Elsie. She is like, I'm not even kidding you. This second bonus is a journey to the center of your heart. But Prana Elsie is this angel intuitive. But what I can tell you about Prana Elsie is she is literally the sweetest, most precious consciousness that I've come up against. She used to be a monk, you know, or what would you call it, a nun, right? And like this woman does not know her own power, but she's so plugged in, beautiful. She engages at a level of love that is so pure. And so she's going to take you on this magical adventure to the cosmic portal of love. And she's going to allow you to move into the sacred heart and weed out all of these other things that are unhealthy, that are not allowing you to really recognize your brilliance, and then to blossom, open your heart to you being that love light being that you truly are. So that's what we're offering today. And I want everybody really to consider doing this, because I can hold a very strong container for you to finally, right, to finally adjust the experience of your life between your energy body and others' energy bodies, between you and the environment, and to engage at the subtle level in a new way where you're taking your power, you're observing what is coming at you or towards you, and being able to neutralize that and being able to make a choice. And in that moment, as witness observer making that choice, literally you're gonna reflect back and echo back to them truth. And that is actually a gift of their awakening. So you literally take on the power of loving yourself to give yourself the gift of becoming what the divine truly wants you to be, but also in doing that, you're giving the gift of awakening through truth and light awareness.
Wow. So you, not only are you serving yourself, but you're becoming an offering. It's so amazing. And yes. I love. You're coming at this from all angles. So any of the impacts that the imprints have created, that's being addressed. What created the imprints in the first place and left you susceptible to taking on those imprints, that's being attended to. All the pieces, like you've thought of everything. Like what are all the dynamics that have really created this so that there's true freedom, true release, deep release. So powerful. I mean, such a brilliant deep dive opportunity to really create just, I don't know, I can't find the words because it's so
I'll
amazing.
tell you, Yeah, when you erase, and erasing is a unique experience. Metatron's cube is going to help us erase. But we're not just clearing imprints. We're not just becoming better aware of the imprints. We're actually allowing you to increase energy levels, to increase clarity. So that reduces confusion and it increases your focus. And that increased focus is the expression of the divine masculine within you. So you can focus on you becoming. So you reclaim that innate power, your spiritual connection becomes stronger. And that means everything from better sleep, improving your meditation, really stimulating spiritual awakening, development, reconnecting with your higher self. But as we can see, it also improves your relationships, right? Mm-hmm. It boosts your well-being because it raises your vibration and your vitality. So these are some of the things that are going to come out of doing this work in the workshop. And these are usually about 2 hours. And so, again, I always want to say that this is something where we go very deep, but also we do it in phases. So, you don't have to try to push through. I know how you can be as a sensitive. The beauty of the container that we're setting is that it is strong and it holds you with love, but it also allows you to do a portion of it and then relax a bit and come back to it. So this is going to actually be recorded for you. You can come back. You can do it again. If you ever get yourself and you feel like, that person was really powerful. I felt like they may be penetrated. I'm going to do this again. It's here for you. If you're going through a cycle where you know that you need to do this multiple times, because the degree to which you're vulnerable right now because of the astrological cycle, you can do that. It'll be here for you, right? You'll have that. And then at the end, really supporting, boosting you up with the collective field, having your own personal field come online with your thought forms, right? Not yours as a human that has gone through all this crap in the past, but you creating a field where the energy, the information of your soul is literally being infused. So that's the new M field for you. That's the new environment that you're going to be relating to and be in. And that, of course, is going to attract different people and different experiences that are much better than those that were holding you in some mold of you that wasn't even you, that you've so grown out of, right? You're such a different person than you were. And so everybody needs to know that. And it's time for you to know that and to come into your own strength and power with that so that you can actually reflect that in everything that you do, and especially in your creativity for your purpose work.
Yes. You have to be clear and bringing forth that own insight. Wow, this is so amazing. It's so powerful. Thank you for bringing this forward, Christel, and offering it to us as an opportunity to really create that space for us to recognize our own brilliance, right? It's really about going, wow, look what can come through me. It's really, really beautiful. I can feel the preciousness of this and the energy that can come in as a result. So thank you for that. I'd love to do some more readings if you're open to it.
Yes, let's do it.
So let's come back over to the phone line. Christel, we didn't do our second gift giveaway. Is it okay if we, our next person, okay, so can you pick a number for me between 1 and 10? 1 and 10.
Let's do 4 for the heart chakra.
Ooh, number 4, going to California. Last 4 digits, 9507. Hello.
Hi, Amanda and Christel. It's Leslie. Hi.
Hello.
I just felt warm when I said that. I'm so nice to be with you both. Oh, that's probably the best part of my day. Thanks.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah, so I guess I'm curious what my number one imprint is. I think I'm up 20 pounds. I'm like really working through a lot of karma. And I feel like I could use any help I can get. I went through a pretty significant trauma this fall, and I'm working as hard as I can to expand and move forward.
The imprint on you is one of being troubled, okay? So the whole idea is of being troubled. And what we see is that the environment would create that scenario for you, right? And so how are you looking at yourself? There's distress, there's anxiety, you've got some kind of conflict, internal conflict, and there's problems around you, right? So it's like you're troubled because of what you see. The issues and the problems around you are creating you being troubled. And so we've seen that you've taken this on, and that imprint has gone down to, again, into that physical body where your cellular level used to feel troubled, right? You were troubled down to that cellular level. And so when we look at that, you were trying to offload the anxiety, but your physical body couldn't offload the anxiety fast enough, right? Yeah. And so you were in this kind of no-win situation, in swimming in the anxiety and not knowing how to get out.
Sounds right.
Okay? Yeah. So that's what's happening with you and in the past, but I've got to do a reading and see how far back this goes. So this is a past life experience, and it goes back 2 past lives ago. So this is a life lesson as well, because it's so early on in your past life. I know that this is a life lesson, but as you overcome feeling troubled, what's happening is you're being upgraded again to be witness observer rather than to be engaged and impressed upon. And when you step up into being witness observer, that's the strength, that's the know-how, that literally is the wisdom of the light that it fuels your body, right? It strengthens your body. You are feeling whole. You are feeling empowered. You are feeling revitalized. And so much so that you hold yourself in that way that others can come to you, and instead of you feeling their trouble, right, you actually can guide and direct them. Right now, in the last, 30 years, it feels as if anyone that would come to you, you would pick up on their troubled issues and you would ingest it and take it in. And then you try to eject it and get it out, right? But it would always leave some anxiety within you, even in you trying to eject the like I just see like the projections coming into you, and then you like trying to project that the energy back out of you, right? Like, get it out. Ooh, get it out. Okay.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Christel. Wow. Yeah, feeling that one. Let's see. Let's go to Washington. Last 4 digits are 7945. Hello.
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 Hi.
Oh, hi, it's Genevieve. I think my hand was still raised from when I went, so I could love my reading. I'm sorry about that. Oh, that's funny.
Did you get a reading?
She didn't get a reading. She just got the gift at the very beginning. So that
that's so silly.
We've got to do a reading for you. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so one of the things that we look at for you is 2 things. One is emptiness. Sometimes you feel empty and alone within yourself and your own self, right? And
Yes.
this feeling of emptiness can also lead to despair or alienation, right? And so the projections around you, it's like you can even be around people. They can even care about you, but you would feel empty, alienated, and some kind of like heartbreak, despair. And so it hasn't allowed you to be as joyous, right, as lighthearted as you would be. And what's happening is you're picking up on the projections that the people are experiencing in their own field, right? So you're so highly sensitive that, you know, actually the loneliness that they feel, the grief that they feel within their own body and their own projections of that grief and that loss and all of that sorrow comes over into you as a projection because it's so much. And so for you actually draw people to you that have deep pain of grief and loss and some kind of tortured soul or suffering.
Isn't that the
okay?
truth?
Right. So, but that's not, we don't need you pulling those people into your reality in order for you to keep the pattern going of this emptiness, despair, and alienation, okay? Because how funny is it? It kind of twists back that you want to alienate yourself from them because of what you pick up when you're around them, okay? So
right.
that's a past life experience. That past life experience is 5 past lives ago, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Genevieve. Thank you, Christel. You know, something that has occurred to me as you're doing all these readings, there's so much kind of like twisting and contorting and all these different pieces that are going on. There's so much to these imprints and what they're creating. So I appreciate where it's so important to go deeper and to address those dynamics. Merrick from the UK says, hi, Christel. What is my number one energetic imprint? Thank you.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're seeing is this experience of being disconnected, right? It's like there's something off about you. You know, like people would project like there's something off about you or there's something different about you, right? And that is the projection of disconnection, the imprint of disconnected, right? When the reality is that you're actually the one that is connected. You're connected to the truth. You're connected to the light. But because they don't understand the light, they project onto you, oh, something's different about you. You're not all there even, right? Like sometimes the feeling is that we don't belong here. We don't belong with these people because they don't get us. So their projection is onto you. And it's a past life. It's 13 past lives ago.
Thank you. I'm sure many people listening can relate to that sense. You know, that feeling of, wait a minute.
Right.
You know. Christel, I have a question here. It's about the idea of, with these imprints, is this the reason why sometimes like people know they want to step into something more or step into a new expression of self, but there's this resistance because they only know themselves to be this person, but it's actually an imprint that they feel that they know themselves to be? Does that question make sense?
That's perfectly it. You're caging yourself, right? You have all this freedom and you're supposed to be out and flying and soaring, but you feel small. You cage yourself and you limit yourself. And it's like, oh, but all I have to do is open the cage door and fly away, you know, and I actually can fly. So, you know, one of the things that I find is that I can see, like my projection onto someone is who they are as their higher self, right? Like I'm wanting to project onto you what I see you being as your higher self. And it's like, you know, if you have an eagle that doesn't know it can fly, doesn't know it's an eagle, right? It's like it's walking on the ground, but it doesn't know it can fly. But we're looking at it going, why aren't you flying? You know, like, why are you walking everywhere? Like, you have this capacity to do so much, but you're putting yourself down here with the chickens. You know what I mean? So that's it. We can lock ourselves into that, and that's a protective mechanism and a control mechanism and a survival mechanism.
Well, when you put it that way, it doesn't make sense not to fly.
Exactly. Why wouldn't we be the eagles that we are, soaring and flying and swooping and, right, going to new heights and getting new perspectives and understanding? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's such a beautifully illustrative example. Jen from Las Cruces says, what's my number one energetic imprint? Thank you so much.
Okay, let me tune in here. Ooh, this is one of others dictating to you who you need to be for them, almost like a slave, like enslavement. It's the shadow. It would show up as like a shadow caregiver, right? Like you're the one expected to do things for others, or you're the one expected to find the answers and solutions for others, right? So let's see when that was created. Before birth, this is a past life experience, 43 past lives ago.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one more, Christel. This is Robin from Perth. She says, hi, Christel, can you tell me what my number one energetic imprint is that I keep repeating?
Yeah, so let's just see here. Yeah, this is actually one of apprehension, right? So this is, I can see this is twisted inside your emotional body, where it literally is that the imprint from other people cause you to be apprehensive, right? So you become apprehensive to dealing with life and with them. And the experience of that would be that someone has some kind of insecurity or issue, and they're projecting onto you that you're the savior of them. And so you're apprehensive because their projection is that you can save them. You're the rescuer for them. Let's see when that was created. So that was, it's past life. Yeah, 14 past lives ago.
Wow, thank you. You know, it also seems that this has come up a couple times at least, where there's this idea of, you know, there's an intention to serve and to be of support, but it's being done in a way that it's taking on these imprints, when there could be a more effective way to actually be of support that's actually honoring the energy. Is that something you've seen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, you know, especially when we look at the healer archetype, we can have personas like the obligated one, right? It's like we get projected onto, and it causes us to feel obligated towards someone, right? Like we have to be the one to help them. We have to be the one to heal them. There's also patterns that can be triangular patterns of imprints. So you're getting it from multiple people, like I was talking about with the family dynamic. And like you're the reliable one that has to take on all the responsibilities for someone else. Again, if you have multiple people projecting onto you, then it becomes a weight that you're carrying. You're carrying a load. And you literally carry the load for your family. So that's something you want to look at. You also want to look at into, when you get into a relationship with someone, their family projects onto you, right? When you have a relationship maybe with someone who has an ex, right? The ex projects heavily onto you, right? Who does she she's projecting onto you, like, who do you think you are? You're not this, you're not that. I had that experience happen where my beloved ex thought that I was going to try to be the mother for her children. You know, I wasn't wanting to do that at all, right? But the projections come on, and they can be like daggers at you. You know, some projections are very impactful. They're not just making a nice little impression. You know, they can beat you up. And that's what a lot of us are feeling, is that we're literally being beaten up, and our energy bodies are being beaten up. So it's important. Again, we want to really understand that if we can come into a place of neutrality, neutralize the situation, become the witness observer. And the beauty of being the witness observer is that you can go zoom in and notice the details about a situation, and then you can expand out. You can zoom out, and you can gain distance from the situation. And that helps you learn. And you can neutralize every time. You can come into these greater understandings, because that understanding will come to you about what the other is going through, right? But then you're not going to be imprinted upon. You're not going to get triggered. You're not going to be snagged by the other person. So this is where I want you to be, is I want each one of you to feel comfortable in that state as a witness and as an observer, and know that the way that you witness creates or discreates projections. Because if you are a witness but you're taking on a projective stance, like you are thinking to yourself, oh, poor me, I'm a victim to what he said, guess what? You just bought into it. And now it's going to take hold. It's going to make the impression, and the mold's going to build out. But if you can zoom in and notice the details about what that person is going through, and then come back out, and then go to a higher position with distance, and then you can say, wow, look at this whole dynamic. That's why he's doing that to me. Oh, he's trying to have me mold into this for him. And then you're at choice, right? You're at choice. You don't have to respond to their mind, and you don't have to respond to the reactions of other people's minds. Use your mind as witness observer. Surrender to your divinity. Neutralize the situation, and that's going to support you navigating it all. And that will really strengthen you, and again, have you actually come to a resolution within your own self, and being able to trust that you have the capacity to hold light, to stand for truth, and that you can then be fearless in the expression of your truth. So when you step out and do your purpose work, you're not afraid of other people's projections onto you, and you're not taking them on. You're already practiced in this art of standing as truth, as a channel of truth, illuminated in truth, and now being able to be witness observer and to literally communicate truth. And that's your boundary.
You know, what I love about as you're sharing is you make it so practical. It's like, you know, you do the stuff, and this is what you do, and that's what you're going to be showing and supporting and educating on. And, you know, when you talk about all these projections coming, I mean, you know, I'm going, oh, my goodness, you know, like they're everywhere, coming from everywhere, places I hadn't even considered. So I think it's really important to have those practical steps and be able to go, okay, oh, I just recognized the projection, you know, I really want to work with this. To have that resource, to be able to do that in the moment and really just take care of it, erase it, let it go. I love the idea of erasing, because then you can't get back to it. It's gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, so this is so illuminating. I mean, it's inspired so much curiosity and also so much insight for me. So I really appreciate all that you've brought forth on this. If you're feeling the call, please make sure you go deep with Christel, because, again, it's those practical tools that are going to really allow you to have a way to move through and create that deep shift so that you can really be open to what wants to come through and express through you. So, Christel, thank you so much for your time and energy
you're welcome.
Brought to us. I just want to check in and see, is there any final words or thoughts that you want to share with everyone before we leave here today?
Most importantly, don't allow anyone to make you think that you're not okay just the way you are. Wounds and all, right? Wounds and all. Because you don't need to change for them. The divine has put you on this planet to go through certain experiences. And whatever you've gone through, that's in the past. And it's time for you now to really claim yourself, your aura, your space, your home, which is your body, and it is your aura. Claim it as a place of healing. Claim it as a place where light resides. Claim it as a place where truth lives. And then let yourself live that truth.
Absolutely. And if there's anyone who can speak to you about living truth, it's definitely Christel. She lost her talk authentically 100%. And so, it's just such a pleasure and a joy to be in the presence of that. And, I'm in appreciation for you holding that space for all of us to step into that more fully. That's what you're doing here for us, and with the work to go deeper in the workshop. So thank you again so much for being here, for your time, all you've brought forth, your presence. Really, really appreciate it. For all of you on the call listening in, thank you for your presence here as well. Thank you for being open to really receive this information and to have the courage to really step forward and say, you know what, I am going to live my truth. I'm going to let go of these imprints and these projections, and I'm going to reclaim this space and really see what my soul wants to express through me. So thank you for being here, for being open to that, and for being willing to step into that more fully. That is a gift. That is a blessing, as Christel described so beautifully for us. So thank you to all of you. Just sending waves of love and blessings from my heart to yours. Take care, and bye for now.
Blessings. Bye-bye.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in Unity Consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.